Pat Adams, 186 Sumner Boulevard. I did not intend to speak tonight, but after this presentation, I'm wondering, have you men been around many seniors lately? It's just like adults ask people, have they been around teenagers lately? A lot of seniors don't have computers. I do. This would frustrate me. Even some of the information you want to know, I'd kind of question about too, having put this into a computer or an iPad or whatever you have. I use my computer, but I do no financial things with it. So I'm doubting if a lot of seniors would even pay attention to this and just say, forget it, if it's not worth it. It's quite a program to you, but I'm not sure it would be to some seniors. I'm curious how many seniors here tonight, well, there aren't a lot, would be willing to do this. You're over 65?
Yeah.
You're over 60? Okay.
This is not a public give and take here.
I'm sorry?
So you can make your comments.
Okay. But I just would say, I probably would say just forget it because it just looks too much information to put into a computer, and does not look that simple to me. Even though I use a computer, I use an iPhone for a lot of things. So thank you and Nancy, I agree with what you were saying and trying to get across to them of it's not that simple. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the south side?
Paul Drum from Collinsville. I would like to address the City Council tonight about my tax assessment value going up. Mr. Miller, did your taxes go up this year? Oh, I forgot. You don't pay taxes. So why do you think you have the right to vote on issues that concern the citizens of Collinsville? Do you think this is right? Did you get to vote on this? Why do you believe you can say things that affect the citizens of Collinsville? It's time for these people to address and let them speak out on their rights. And also, the TIF is wrong and should be exempt. People, speak up. It's time. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Wright. I live in the Collinsville Township. My comment tonight is seems like ancient history now, since there wasn't a meeting 2 weeks ago. But this recent candidate event that was held down at the Gateway Center, there were at least two what appeared to be city employees there to photograph the event and put the video online. And so I kind of have a question about that because, providing photography services and covering a local event that is not official city business is certainly not within the city's mission, in my opinion, and perhaps other taxpayers I can't necessarily speak for. But I think the citizens of Collinsville deserve answers as to, who made the decision that city resources and money would go to covering that event, which was, of course, again, not city business. I want to make that very clear. That, where the advocacy groups, the media, that's their job. That's not the city's job to use tax money to do that type of thing. The other thing, in response to the presentation tonight, I think the city is doing this backwards, where they've got a cumbersome process for people who qualify for rebates to have to go through all these steps to get a rebate when the collection process for the money is automated. So the city has it easy the money just comes to them from the utility. And then if the senior citizen wants it back, they have to go through a bunch of rigmarole. I think that's backwards. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Sir, you've already spoken.
Well, I believe that the abuse of city credit cards by...
Sir, you've already spoken. Please take a seat.
First time here,
Okay.
but I
We,
believe what is wrong is wrong.
sir, you're out of order.
So are you.
Mary Drum. The gentleman that gave the presentation, I really didn't even come prepared to talk about this. Your great-grandmothers, you're probably in your 20s, right? Or you're young. Would they be able to come and do all this computer? You know, the other gentleman took the words out of my mouth. I have a quadriplegic nephew. How's he going to do this? You going to go to his house? How many seniors are going to go through this? It's ridiculous. Why even put the rebate? You know who the seniors are. Just don't even charge them the tax. I don't understand. But anyway, you know, this is what I came to talk about, is the wasting of taxpayers' money. This morning, the city street sweeper, I live on a little horseshoe-shaped street, not very many houses. And the city street sweeper went by at least 6 times at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was raining. I usually praise the street department. They do a good job, but couldn't they give this worker something more productive to do, like clearing out the ditches, you know, where all the water is standing? And, you know, the taxpayer dollars were wasted on the vehicles, on the gas, on the wages for this employee. Mother Nature would have, with all the rain we had around after 9 o'clock, would have took care of the streets. Another waste of taxpayers' money on Sundays, I drive through here. Drive through the parking lot. Been doing this several Sundays in a row. 3 vehicles. What have I been seeing? City-owned, taxpayer-furnished vehicles. Where are the rest? Where are they being used for? And I was really disappointed about the last meeting being canceled. And I find it very hard with everything going on in Collinsville that there was no, I'm not quite sure how you termed it, lack of business. So, Mitch, you were on vacation. The other meeting that was canceled, the mayor was on vacation. So, do you each feel that you're not capable of holding a meeting without the other being present? And lastly, Mr. Miller, you commented on in the Belleville News-Democrat on March 14th that the council meeting is not a political forum. So the other gentleman also touched on this. Do you think it is right that your video guy, Mr. Alvers, used a city vehicle to transport city-owned video equipment while on salary to the private candidate forum that took place at Gateway? I heard the Gateway room was donated, but it leads me to believe that maybe there was some kind of backdoor deal. They're going to get some TIF funds for something else they may want new.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
I will be running for mayor in 2019 to get rid of TIF berries and who give away.
It's time he goes.
Sir, I'm asking you to please sit down. You are out of order.
So are you. So is ours.
S-
We
uh,
respect each other. Yes, sir.
I'll not ask you again, sir.
Phyllis Droskis. I guess I got a first comment on this utility tax to get the rebate. After 1 year, after you go through all this rigmarole, just send all the seniors $50 and let anybody who's disabled that can't get up here, send them a check, because this ain't worth the hassle for this little bit we're going to get back. First off, they didn't know that they had to save all their bills for a year. I know you don't read the fake news, but I do. Belleville News-Democrat on sales taxes. Once again, Collinsville was right there on top, even though it was at the bottom of the page. And they didn't even include the hospitality tax. So we shot up another 1%. So we're the winners. We win. The candidate forum held down there, it was mentioned that the city did not have nothing to do with this. Ironically, the people representing the city, the law firm, paid for the alcohol and booze. Am I correct, Mitch? And the other little fineries down there was paid for by Oates and Associates. Is there any truth in all this? That's the same lawyer representing the city against the city up here versus Bromelich. Also on there with the past city manager. I believe their name was Lowen Brown. We made statements at the candidate forum of no corruption. I think that's all we've been having up here is corruption. It's noted by the newspapers. One of the candidates could not answer probably half the questions that were answered to her. She also stated up here for Republic, when they wanted to go to this trash can deal, that she had forgotten about setting the containers and the bulk item pickup out. And if you look a little deeper into her history, she has filed for bankruptcy. We're going to handle millions of dollars up here, and I don't think we need somebody like that. The lawyer running for it, David Jerome, I think he wanted to instill fear in everybody that we weren't getting the job done up here at Collinsville because we were down to one fire truck. Would you please elaborate why we only had one fire truck in service? I would like to know, and so would others. And this way, if you say it, we know what was wrong. Mr. Jerome has been a part of the downtown EDC, economic development throughout the city. Our main street is just saloon after saloon after saloon. And now we got the tavern on the corner of the Apex building that doesn't look like it's going to get finished. And the guy says he will not finish it. The one across the street, the old State Bank, saloon, food, nothing. We got two buildings at the center of our town with nothing going on. Numerous vacancies up and down Vandalia, the Beltline. We're starting to get them down at the Collinsville Center. Something needs to be done, and we're going in the wrong way. We need to help the people that have been here, not new business. We don't need any more new business. All future business is strictly all cannibalism. Mr. Jerome has also sponsored and tried to get in, which he succeeded, getting in the Southwest Business District, which includes another 1% sales tax. We're at the top of the line now. We don't need any more. We don't need this type of leadership. This has been wrong for years up here. And if we elect the next two to replace Kipton and Moss, we can have a 5-0 vote because we're all going to agree. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Good evening, Karen McReynolds. I'm glad we finally have some business to have a council meeting. I was disappointed it was canceled last time, and I think an explanation is in order why certain people think we don't have any business to have a meeting. These are my observations, but I'm going to call them Mrs. Brombolick's legacy. She was employed by the city nearly 30 years, used city-issued credit cards for personal use despite several warnings and unbeknownst to most citizens, retired after detection of further misuse, filed for candidacy for city council with the misdeeds still unknown to most. The firemen were enlisted to campaign for herself and friends, Mr. Stamen and Mayor Miller, and all succeeded in the April 2015 election. Also in 2015, finally the news revealed to the public the misuse of the credit cards. A plan was formulated to remove city manager Scott Williams, who had investigated her and other misdeeds. Successfully removed Mr. Williams on 7/13/15 with 3 yes votes, Mrs. Brombolick, Mayor Miller, and Mr. Stamen, and 2 no votes, Councilman members Moss and Kipton. Divided the city into watchdogs and cheerleaders. Watchdogs wanting justice, cheerleaders supporting their friend Mrs. Brombolick, birds of a feather flocking together. repeatedly was asked to step down but refused, called residents disaffected malcontents, treated 2 fellow council members with disdain and acted most unprofessionally on the dais, awarded hundreds of thousands of TIF dollars to businesses for items other than infrastructure, awarded hundreds of thousands of TIF dollars to businesses who failed to follow written procedures but required others to comply, increased taxes, the utility tax from 1.5 to 4, and added a new 1% business tax, created a new TIF district despite tremendous opposition by the citizens and numerous studies showing the ineffectiveness and drawbacks of TIFs, all of these with the 3-2 vote. Filed a lawsuit against the city claiming she was forced to retire, convinced a couple of friends and supports them to run for city council against the 2 sitting council members, hopefully to reach a goal of 5-0 vote on almost all future agenda items. Again, the firemen are enlisted to campaign for her friends. Really, don't they know what the rest of us know? Uses every opportunity to cast bad light on 2 council members. Now, how will this legacy end? If her friends do not get elected, the 2 watchdogs remain on the council. If her friends are elected, then future votes would be 5-0, except for one, which will be 4-0, because one item will be the coup de grace. Mrs. Bromblick will have to recuse herself from this vote, but she won't mind. The council will make a decision to settle her lawsuit against the city, her beloved city, and they will vote 4-0 to settle and give her the judgment she asks. After all, that is what friends do. So, will the Collinsville voters help Mrs. Bromblick complete her legacy or not? That remains to be seen. And as far as fire trucks, I keep hearing this, cut, 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 1 fire truck. A couple of residents either don't know or are acting like they don't know about our wrecked fire truck that was totaled by the insurance company. They also won't mention the one ordered some time ago, before the wrecked one was totaled, that delivery has been delayed and was voted on and approved by a 5-0 vote when the fire department requested it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Robert Teal. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Sorry I missed the meetings in February. My son and daughter-in-law gifted me with a new granddaughter, and my wife and I spent a few weeks with them in New Jersey helping out. At the last meeting in January, the mayor spoke at the very end and encouraged citizens to make appointments with members of the council, himself, and department heads, that we didn't need to bring our concerns here and issues to this meeting. I think bringing them here is a better venue. Everyone has a chance to hear them, all the board members, plus department heads in attendance, and any citizens here and watching the video, now and in the future, that have concerns and issues. After all, it's our 4 minutes. I would like to thank the action taken on the drainage issue I had brought up here along Collinsville Road and then down along Arnold Street. The street department workers did a great job removing and installing the new storm drains. I had been out in my garage and around my yard most of the day, and the guys did a professional job and were very courteous to the traffic and staying out to one side to keep things moving. But now I have to say, I apologize to the citizens of Collinsville for wasting their tax dollars on this project. The issue was flow. All the water, all the way up from 157 in front of the middle school, past the side of the new water plant, along Collinsville Road, in front of the Rural King, L.E. Smith's, turns the corner and heads down Arnold Street. Remember, the flow was the issue. Replacing a 12-inch drain with a 12-inch drain did very little to increase the flow. Sorry, my concerns here was lost in translation as to what the problem was, so please don't waste any additional tax dollars trying to make improvements here. I would like to voice my displeasure with the cancellation of the first meeting in March. It makes one wonder just who runs our city council, the city manager or the council members. Although I'm certain had a vote been taken, it would have been a 2 for and 2 against, with the mayor breaking the tie in favor of canceling. But at least we would have had seen more of a democratic process and with transparency. I had went to the Tuesday informational meeting down at the convention center to meet and hear from the candidates. I also had hoped to find out a little more about the Collinsville Chronicle, maybe an introduction by someone that worked for them, explaining why they were taking the time and promoting this forum. just who they were and what they were. But unfortunately, I didn't hear from one person represented by the organization. I had looked over the website, didn't see if they were tax-exempt organization, ran on donations, or just how they were funded. Listen, now I did find this website interesting, with a lot of links and other information to other sites. I started wondering just how this whole event was funded. Who paid for the use of the convention center, their employees, the city employees, and the promotion of this event? Certainly, if tax dollars were used, it would have had gone through our city council. Did it? I also wondered if the township kicked in a few bucks for their portion of the event. I guess I'm trying to say is the Collinsville Chronicle missed a great opportunity to promote and explain her organization, but chose to remain silent. I am still confused about why the city manager and city attorney sits among the city council members when they're not part of the city council. Also on this rebate thing, is that something that you get every month, or you get a check at the end of the year, or how is it even paid out? I didn't understand that in part of the process. Also down at the water treatment plant, when this water runs across and over this and into the parking lot, it now runs all the way across the parking lot into the new location of the water plant. So once they raise the elevation there, I guess I better get into their sub pump, because that water's going to have to come back across and in my yard. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak, and hope you all have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else?
Janet Schultz. March 12th through March 19th was Sunshine Week, the annual celebration of government transparency, the public's right to know what our government is doing. The Freedom of Information and the Open Meeting Act exists so that citizens have the ability to hold their government accountable. How did Collinsville celebrate Sunshine Week? You canceled the city council meeting. No business to discuss, nothing going on. What about bills? What about payroll? What about the citizens' 4 minutes? They have the right to address the council. I think you two forget sometimes the government, and you work for us. Every penny Collinsville spends is our money. Every car you drive is our car. Every credit card you use is our credit card. Those nice lunches you take, we're paying for those. The nice increases in salary, they're coming out of our pockets. And if that isn't enough, you raise the utility tax, which again comes out of our pockets. And to get our money back, we have to go through that rigmarole. That's the whole idea, isn't it? People will be too confused, too much hassle, and you keep the money. I'm sure you all have seen the play, The Little Shop of Horrors, where the florist develops a plant, but it's a beautiful plant, but it starts to wither. He pricks his finger and a drop of blood falls on the plant and it revives. But it wants more. Each day he has to give it more blood till he runs out of bodies and he runs out of blood and it finally devours him. The plant is you. The florist is us. You are draining us. Each day you want more, a little more tax, a penny here, a utility tax. When does it end? Till you finally devour us. A community is more than just business. It is the people, it is the citizens that love this community. Do you think the new people that come in on these tip incentives love Collinsville the way we do? No. They're here for the money. They're here to line their pocket. When it's not profitable to them anymore, they'll move on. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?